After weeks of intense clashes, Pakistan and India have stepped back from the brink, but the aftermath is still unfolding. Pakistan's Army Chief General Asim Munir has called Operation Bunyanum Marsoos a defining moment in the country's military history. During a visit to injured soldiers in Rawalpindi, he praised their courage and said the army's response showed unity and strength. The military says this entire period, from the Pahalgam attack on April 22 up until May 10, will now be remembered as Marka-i-Haq, or the righteous battle. Pakistan says it launched the operation to retaliate against Indian airstrikes that killed civilians, including women, children, and the elderly. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has announced that May 10 will be marked every year as Yawm Marka-i-Haq, a day to honor the country's military response. This coming Friday, May 16, will also be observed nationwide with special prayers and tributes to the armed forces. The government is rolling out compensation packages too. Families of martyred civilians will get 10 million rupees. For military martyrs, the compensation ranges from 10 to 18 million rupees, plus housing and continued salaries. Their children will get free education up to graduation, and daughters will receive a marriage grant. Those injured in service will receive between 2 to 5 million rupees, and the government will rebuild mosques and homes damaged during the conflict. Pakistan's parliament is also standing united. Lawmakers passed a resolution praising the armed forces for their professionalism and restraint. They paid tribute to the martyrs and called the response to India's aggression both measured and dignified. But across the border, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is sending a different message. In his first speech since the escalation, he made it clear that India has only paused military action, not stopped it.
और मैं फिर दोहरा रहा हूं, हमने पाकिस्तान के आतंकी और सैन्य ठिकानों पर अपनी जवाबी कार्रवाई को अभी सिर्फ स्थगित किया है.
He repeated India's decision to suspend the Indus Waters Treaty, something Pakistan says is a violation of international agreements.
टेरर और ट्रेड एक साथ नहीं चल सकते और पानी और खून भी एक साथ नहीं बह सकता.
Back in Pakistan, former Information Minister Fawad Chaudhry slammed Modi's remarks, calling them hollow and full of political spin. He said there's still no clarity from India on the attackers behind the Pahalgam incident, and no accountability. Meanwhile, a quiet but significant diplomatic step took place behind the scenes. The military operations chiefs of India and Pakistan spoke by phone on Monday. For the first time in days, there were no reports of explosions or cross-border fire overnight. The Indian Army described it as the first peaceful night along the border in weeks. According to Indian media, the discussion focused on the ceasefire and confirmed that trade and border restrictions remain in place for now. The Indian side says more details will be shared soon. While the ceasefire has held so far, global powers aren't taking any chances. U.S. President Donald Trump told reporters his administration prevented a bad nuclear war, saying millions of lives were at stake. He also warned both countries that future trade was off the table if they didn't de-escalate.
Let's stop it. Let's stop it. If you stop it, we're doing trade. If you don't stop it, we're not going to do any trade. People have never really used trade the way I used it. That I can tell you. And all of a sudden they said, I think we're going to stop. And they have, and they did it for a lot of reasons, but trade is a big one. We're going to do a lot of trade with Pakistan. We're going to do a lot of trade with India.
Australia's Foreign Minister Penny Wong welcomed the ceasefire in a call with Pakistan's Deputy PM Ishaq Dar, expressing condolences for civilian casualties, including those from the Jafar Express attack. Dar stressed that Pakistan had acted strictly in self-defense, in line with UN principles and international law. Meanwhile, China also welcomed the development. Spokesperson Lin Jian said the ceasefire serves the long-term interests of both nations and benefits regional stability. China confirmed that Foreign Minister Wang Yi had spoken separately to Ishaq Dar and Indian NSA Ajit Doval, urging continued restraint and a lasting ceasefire. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, called the ceasefire a positive step, but urged renewed international focus on resolving Kashmir through peaceful dialogue and UN resolutions. The group condemned strikes on Pakistani and Kashmiri territories, and called for protection of civilians and places of worship, reiterating its stance on respecting sovereignty and territorial integrity. The UK's Foreign Secretary David Lammy also joined the diplomatic chorus. After speaking with FM Ishaq Dar, both sides agreed to maintain close coordination, with Lamy reportedly praising Pakistan's efforts to uphold regional peace. As diplomacy accelerated, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio spoke with the UK Foreign Secretary, discussing the need for both India and Pakistan to maintain open lines of communication and fully uphold the ceasefire. Rubio repeated U.S. support for direct dialogue between the two countries and stressed the importance of avoiding further escalation. So while the guns have fallen silent, for now, peace is still fragile, and the road ahead will depend on what both countries do next.